In fact, on that notion, we are because they were, that of course being the educators of this country. Tell us what your thoughts are. What do you remember from high school? Do give us a call. I'll give you this number right now where you can dial us 078-799-4480. We'll try and have a conversation because all of us right now, we are where we are today because we must have gone through a teacher somewhere in our lives. Now let's go back to NUMSA spokesperson Phakamile Hlubi-Majola, who is on the line with us to speak about the workers' grievances, of course, the strike that we spoke about earlier at the Gautrain. Phakamile, thank you very much for joining us on the agenda on SABC News channel. What are the workers unhappy about? I think that's the top question here.
Good morning and good morning to your viewers, and thank you for having me. Our members are frustrated at Gautrain because the management of Gautrain does not want to engage us meaningfully during these wage talks which we were attempting to resolve. We have since deadlocked as a result of their attitude, and now our members are on strike starting today.
When you say deadlocked, what are you asking for? What is the employee offering, and can you not meet each other somewhere?
We believe very strongly that we can meet each other halfway. They are actually trying to impose a 4.1% increase onto us. Our members are demanding 8%. The reason they're demanding 8% is to cushion the lowest earning workers who are earning an average of 8,500 Rand. And we believe that 8% would be much more of a meaningful increase, particularly for those low earners. And our problem is that they simply do not want to engage us on this. The offer of 4.1% was not even tabled during the talk. They emailed us that offer and said, this is it, take it or leave it, we're not negotiating. Since the 29th of August, when we were issued with the strike certificates, we have been trying to get the management of Gautrain to come back to the table because we did not want to have to resort to strike action, but they have simply refused.
Here's a question then, Phakamile. 8%, is it feasible currently in this climate, economic climate, where people and a lot of companies are losing, well, people are losing their jobs? 8%, do you think that is a bit too high, or is that your negotiating starting point?
I think in the case of Gautrain, your viewers must remember that Gautrain has been receiving its 100 million Rand per month operating fee, whether there was COVID-19, whether there was a lockdown or not. So they've not actually been affected by this at all. Even the low ridership numbers have not affected the money which they are receiving every month of 100 million Rand. But having said that, we are saying, let's sit around the table and talk. The problem is that we are being denied that opportunity. They are saying to us, take 4.1%, this is it, we're not talking. And it's the not talking. No employer has the right to simply impose changes. They have to negotiate those changes with the workforce. And the Bombela operation company is not negotiating. They are imposing, and it is that attitude, the fact that they're imposing this on workers, the fact that they do not want to be transparent and honest enough to sit around the table with us, that our members have been provoked into strike action.
Phakamile, do you think that this strike will have an impact, or has it had an impact since you've begun at 8 o'clock this morning? What has it been like with regards to commuters using the Gautrain, and which other assets with regards to Gautrain have been affected? The buses, what impact has it had so far?
There have been delays this morning because of the fact that our members have been on strike. NUMSA represents the majority of workers at Gautrain, and our members voted overwhelmingly in favor of a strike. So we don't want these interruptions to continue. We would prefer a situation where we find each other, because we honestly do not believe that we are far from each other. There's not that much of a gap between 8% and 4%. Surely somewhere in the middle we can find each other. Let's talk. And the opportunity to talk is still there. We are still calling on management to come to the table to talk to us.
Phakamile Hlubi-Majola, NUMSA spokesperson, thank you indeed for joining us here on the agenda.
Thank you.
Moving on now, today marks exactly